Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha, where we bring you cutting edge conversation while exploring the quantum possibility. And we are going to go so quantum tonight. We are going to go so far out of the confines of our mind that we may all get healed just by virtue of being together tonight. I am so excited for what our guest is going to share with us. But before Augie tells you about Chad, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy by showing up and your chat in the chat room. And maybe you join us on Sundays for the Mastermind Connection, where we get together and we group think, group manifest, group meditate, if you will, all of these beautiful images to the feeling place of the way that we want to see the world, the way that we want our world to feel, the way that we want humanity to be united. And we do it and we have so much fun. It's 2 p.m. on Sunday. If you'd like to join us, drop an email into the mastermindconnection@gmail.com. Augie will send you the link. You can come hang out with us. And if you like it, you can come back and see us. Thank you to our friends at the Conscious Awakening Network. We're always co creating with them. We're streaming there right now and on scads of other platforms that I don't even know the name of some of them. So, without any further ado, please, Augie, tell us about our guest.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, this is going to be fun and be quite an education for many of you out there because we're going to talk about quantum energies and the field and things that we have right now that some entities within the establishment really don't like us to know about. So this is going to get interesting. We have Chad Andrews with us, and he has the Ascension Chamber in Phoenix, Arizona. And for those of you that like to surf the internet while you're listening or watching, I'll give you his website. It's right here. It's ascensionchamber.life. Ascensionchamber.life. You can go there and you can poke around. There's some really interesting stuff. And look in the picture gallery. You are going to love what it looks like. This is no small operation. They have gone all out, and that is why they are having such phenomenal results. And in fact, one of the reasons that we are here talking to Chad today is because of a good friend of Nori and I. And Kelly is actually in the chat room, from what I was told. And I just love it when things work because she had a bad, really bad case of cancer. She went and did chemo, she did radiation, and nutrition and a few other things, and nothing seemed to work. And then she met you, Chad. And you are not even in the healing business. You have an ascension chamber. And evidently, there is some side effects to this healing, to this ascension chamber. And one of those side effects are good health. We're not used to thinking of side effects that way, but this one definitely worked because Kelly is cancer free today after visiting with Chad Andrews and the Ascension Chamber. So, this is something, folks, if you have anything that you're not perfectly happy with in your body, listen real close. And well, the Ascension Chamber offer. Actually, I'll just say just a little bit about it because then we're going to hear more later. It's they're going to you get there, you're going to a profound meditative journey, harnessing frequencies and vibrations to facilitate healing on many levels, both physical, emotional, and spiritual. You sit under a parabolic uh, pyramid, and they have a geodesic dome over it. You have built-in Likovsky multi-wave oscillators with crystals and Tesla coils and harmonic energy sounds. And people often have healings and visions and visits by spiritual entities while they are in that state of mind. And I've talked way too much again. I want to hear more from you, Chad. Welcome to the
Welcome,
show.
Chad. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me on. This is a wonderful opportunity to help raise awareness about the chamber.
So exciting. I'm just telling somebody that you're only 10 minutes from the airport because they're talking about their health. But Chad, I'm looking at your website and I saw your promo videos, and I can't help but wonder, how did this all come about for you? This is amazing.
Um, I had an awakening probably in around 2014, and I was really trying to be a faithful student to follow my guidance. And I'd kind of fallen into the whole spiritual stuff, having read about children and reincarnation stories, and I became really curious, and I began meditating. And I went to the Monroe Institute, and tried some of the different uh, molecules, the spirit molecules, and um, I was very, very convinced that I was in touch with guidance during my meditations, and it led me to leave my career and take a quick journey around the globe, with a lot of sacred sites being visited, and going and visiting a lot of different healing centers. And through that process, it seemed to awaken within me an ability to um, communicate with higher intelligence that was feeding me information about the building the chamber and the technology that the chamber may contain. And so I began unpacking it, just instruction by instruction. And after a couple of years, we had completed the Ascension Chamber and released it to the world.
Wow. Wow. It's incredible. How long has it been now that since you've begun?
Well, so we started building the chamber in the fall of 2017,
Okay.
and I would say that it was pretty much complete in the spring of 2019. That's when Mark Serto came in from Atlanta and installed the sound bath that we use for the chamber. That's exclusive. That provides a multitude of frequencies to support the body, and it's quite an amazing sound bath. He did a fantastic job. And for anyone that doesn't know who Mark Serto is, he spent 13 years as the sound engineer at the Monroe Institute, working with Bob Monroe to help develop the programs that they use for exploring consciousness. So we were really blessed to have him participate. And he created an amazing sound bath. And of course, he included some of that secret sauce from Monroe, some of the what they call hemisync signals to support people that are in the chamber to go deep and have a real shot at having a transcendent experience. And so I would say that the chamber was complete uh, around the end of April of 2019. And then, of course, we were all sidelined with COVID not too long after that. And it's, time has flown, but we haven't, made near the progress of sharing it with the world that, were my expectations. So
Yes.
thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, of course, of course. When you tell people what it is, people who really don't know the breadth and depth of what this really is, how do you explain it to people who are like entry level?
Sure. Well, we typically would tell you that it's energy enhanced meditation,
Mm,
and you could call it a prayer chamber. You can call it an energy chamber, but we're incorporating not only the science of frequencies and using the technology that has been very much suppressed, but we're also including the spiritual side, and we're also using the sacred geometry of the pyramid. And so for somebody, they may think, well, there's some science in it, there's spiritual in it, and there's woo woo in it. But for those of us in the know, utilizing the geodesic dome and the pyramid as a life force energy focuser, is a pretty well accepted. And so when you're doing a meditation in the chamber, you're fully supported, by that sacred geometry, as well as the all of the other elements that are included to take people into a very deep, relaxed state while feeding the body. Um, you bathe in the body in plasma energy, and plasma is created by exciting noble gases with the Tesla coil and that high voltage. So you're being bathed in this plasma energy while you're reclined on this chair. You're extremely comfortable. It's a zero gravity chair. You're actually laying on a bed of crystals because we took all the
Wow.
heavy backing out of the chair, and there's raw colored tourmaline crystals and magnetic sand, from top to bottom. So you're laying on a bed of crystals. You've got Tesla coils firing, creating this plasma field, and your body's just bathed in plasma, all while being lulled with the sound bath. The chair is connected to the base, so all of the frequencies that Mark put together, were strategically chosen,
Wow.
being rumored as providing esoteric benefits of clearing energy blocks and supporting the energy system that way. And the chair is vibrating. It's great for the lymph system, but it can also kind of trigger the body vibrations that are often described when individuals are um, prior to them leaving their body. A lot of these out of body experiences describe where the your body at the cellular level is just vibrating, and the chair supports that with the transducers that we've got hooked up directly to the chair. So the body is just super relaxed, and it's being fed the Lakovsky frequencies. And um, if people don't know who Lakovsky is, that's okay. In the 1930s, he and Tesla teamed up, and Lakovsky is credited with inventing what they called a multi-wave oscillator. And so they're concentric rings, and they're tethered together with silk thread. And he believed in the book that he wrote called The Secret of Life, he believed that this apparatus was capable of producing an envelope of harmonics or frequencies that he believed covered the entire spectrum of the human body. And his notion was that if you can leverage sympathetic resonance, which is when you have two tuning forks and they're tuned to the same frequency. If you bang on one, that wave goes across, and the second fork begins to oscillate. And he believed that the secret was bringing all of the cells to its highest amplitude. And by matching the frequencies of the body, he believed that when you bathed in this multi-wave oscillator, that the cells would reach their high amplitude. And he believed that that was when the body was quite capable of resisting and eliminating disease. And so they actually put this apparatus to work throughout Europe, and we have medical documents supporting and demonstrating a large number of patients that were being cured of awful diseases, including cancer. And it's documented from hospital to hospital. It's documented by different doctors how many sessions individuals had. And yet after Lakovsky died, all of the technology was removed, but we still have access to those actual case studies, if you will, where individuals were healing themselves of these different diseases. And if you dive into the numbers, you found that Lakovsky's individuals were typically getting about 25 sessions spaced out every couple of days of just 15 minutes of bathing the body in the frequencies, and suddenly their health was completely restored in many situations. So when you're in the Ascension Chamber, we're utilizing that same technology that Lakovsky had invented back in the 1930s, but it's also supported by um, the additional Tesla coils that are creating that plasma bath. And this is quite interesting because just in the last 5 or 6 years, there's a tremendous number of studies suggesting that if you take plant or crop seeds and you expose those seeds to a plasma energy field for just a couple of minutes. Somehow these seeds are supercharged, they're disease resistant,
Yeah.
these plants are producing higher crops, and study after study, shows these anomalies. So they're recognizing this is a real thing, but obviously the studies don't conclude what is exactly happening. And so when you're in the Ascension Chamber, not only are you bathed in the multi-wave oscillator, frequencies that Tesla and Lakhovsky supported, but you're also being bathed in this plasma energy, the same way they're doing it to seeds that are, showing this tremendous, after effect. So it's definitely an opportunity to go in, be bathed in frequencies. It's a light bath. You're being showered with all of the spectrochrome colors. Those were the colors that a gentleman named Dinshaw back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s was, training surgeons and physicians across the nation to use light for healing. And these were the colors that he used specifically for different conditions to great success. And fortunately, because the government, was trying to shut him down, and they took him to court. So we've got some wonderful court records, from the 40s, where he was defeating the government and surgeons were testifying on his behalf, with some of them even, giving up their license because the medical system was moving toward eliminating the possibility to use light in healing. And yet, in today's modern medicine, nearly 100 years later, if a child has jaundice, what do? They use light to,
Right.
bring the body back into balance and, save the child's life. So, we suspect that he was absolutely onto something. And when you're in the chamber, your entire body is bathed in all of those frequencies that, he was a proponent for. And I think he channeled that information. If you read his legacy's work in the book called "Let There Be Light," it he was tapped in, and I think he had some good direction that, was helping him uh, identify what frequencies, would best support the body to bring it back into balance for all these different conditions. So his is a fascinating story. Uh, so the Ascension Chamber is a, a meeting of all of these different modalities, whether it's the sound bath or the multi-wave oscillator or the sacred geometry, the light bath, the plasma bath, all of this
Mhm.
coming together within a crystal grid, giving people a real chance. If you can relax the body, and the chamber does just that, you've got a real chance to have a deep meditative experience. Now, is that
Hmm.
because of the intention that goes into it? Possibly. Is it because they're also within a structure that's, rumored to support those types of experiences? Possibly. Is it the placebo effect? Maybe. Is it the hemisync that Mark put together for us? Well, we'll call them binaural beats. We can't say hemisync, but is it that technology that's supporting individuals to get there? It could be, but it's also um, that we include the spiritual realm. So people are writing down their intentions and they're giving permission before they go into the chamber, for spirit, for their higher self, whatever it is that they resonate with within their heart. We ask them to call upon that and
Yeah.
give permission for that healing
Yeah.
or to
I can.
amplify, the experience.
I can
Amazing.
understand how that would work. I see that you have taken the technology of about 8 or 10 different. Some of these technologies are almost 100 years old, but they're being covered up. And when you put all those technologies together, they will probably amplify each other so that each one of them would work better, even though they would also work separately. Could we say
It,
that?
I think so personally, because I've been here every day to see every individual, that's gone in the chamber and come out and sent us copies of their, blood work showing that everything's back into normal ranges. Individuals that have had lifelong conditions that seem to clear up after a visit to the chamber. So something's going on there, and perhaps it is just the placebo effect. Who knows? But I believe that, all of these things are working together to provide an excellent opportunity for healing. And the healing sometimes shows up even just on an emotional side. And we know from spiritual counseling that disease is often carried in the body as unresolved emotions. And it's not uncommon for people to go into the chamber, and to their surprise, they find themselves, in a deep set or state of releasing, and they're crying, and they may not even know why they're crying, but they understand that there's a release taking place. And sometimes people will know why they're, or what it is that they're releasing. But the chamber heals on all of those different levels: the spiritual side, the physical side,
Yeah.
and the emotional side.
I'm wondering too, sooner or later, you should get somebody to come in there that really don't believe this would work. Do they get the same effects or is that different? With other words, I don't think you have to believe that it will work because Lakovsky's invention and Wilhelm Reich and Patrick Flanagan and Bob Beck and Leonard Hur, people don't have to believe that it works in these individual cases.
That is
But it works.
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
It works whether you believe it or not. Now, I think that it is better to have intention and add those additional, spiritual aspects to it. But individuals that have come in here that are a little bit on the um, fence about
Skeptical.
what we're doing, whether it's too woo woo for them, they too have reported amazing health turnarounds as a result of being in the chamber even just one time.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun, and it happens like this, quite commonly, where you scratch your head, where some people will visit the chamber just to have that deep meditative experience and the opportunity for that transcendent experience that so many people have reported. And they'll often drag a friend or a family member here, and the family member isn't really into the chamber. They're kind of coming here as a favor to their friend who's really excited. Well, it so often happens where the individual that had no expectations is the one that has the big experience in the chamber.
Right?
And
That's so funny.
for me, it hurts my heart because I know that the other person was wanting that experience that their friend just had. But we know that that's how consciousness works, is that the presents are given to us at unexpected times, and oftentimes when we bring our friends, it's really for them anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Does everybody come out and go, "Whoa," or not wanna leave? I mean, has anybody come out and just been like, "Yeah, it was alright. I
Sure, we've
kinda."
had that.
You have?
We have,
Oh.
yeah, that happens where people will come out and say, "I was extremely relaxed, but for the most part, I didn't have any experience, and remained completely conscious the whole time." But
Mm,
nobody comes out and says that they didn't have a good
something.
experience.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think we've probably had a couple of people that didn't finish the session because they were feeling a little claustrophobic,
Too much,
and
yeah.
so they may have terminated their session earlier. But if an individual comes in, they're typically always leaving with a big smile on their face, just
Right.
from how relaxing it is. And then there's all these other individuals that will come out and they say that they've met loved ones, they've met angels, they've met Jesus. They get downloads, they see entities, they go out of body. You hear all sorts of different experiences, but it's certainly not every time. Somebody may come in and
Right.
they have an experience where they went in the chamber and they met Jesus, and then they come
Mhm.
back, and the next session maybe they were just relaxed, but, or maybe they just feel energized, or they
Yeah.
maybe only felt energy moving through their body. And it's so Jesus is apparently not showing up every time. Now, I've been into the chamber a whole lot of times, and especially if somebody says they just saw Jesus, I'm like right in behind them going, all right, let's go. And I haven't run into Jesus myself, but
Right.
a lot of people have, and I don't doubt that these experiences are real, and they can be life changing. And we have individuals that
Absolutely.
suggest that their life was turned around after the chamber experience. And so I think that the chamber, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, consciousness gets credit for those blowout experiences, but the chamber provides a really good opportunity to get into that energy field with that intention and that
Mhm.
space that's so supported and loved by our unseen, light working friends. And
Mhm.
it happens more often than it would if you just went over to a standard meditation. right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So there's something going on there.
Yes.
Absolutely, I know that to be a fact.
I mean,
And
just reading about it, Chad, I feel like I can feel the vibration. I mean, I can't I can't imagine not having some kind of an experience. And of course, whatever we're ready for in our ascension, could happen there. I mean, that would have a big influence over what happens for everybody, where we are on our personal growth trajectory. But I think I'd want to go every day looking at your website. I'm like, I want to go every day.
it is easy to become in love with the chamber. That is for
Oh,
sure. Absolutely. And a lot of people come in just for that, to raise their vibration. But they're getting that support, and they're getting all of the unseen love that might be surrounding them, and lifting. People will go in with stress, and they come out and they feel lighter. I mean, there's absolutely a massive reduction of anxiety and stress, and people just feel out. They come out and they feel better. And if they're rewarded with some glimpse of the other side, or something that's life changing, wow. I mean, that's terrific to be a part of. So we're extremely blessed to see a lot of these wonderful friends come through.
Hmm.
how did you choose the name?
It, I would give credit to guidance. This is really their project, and I was just the boots on the ground. And so everything ranging from the ideas, the technology, and to how the chamber is decorated with roses, and there's tapestries all over the Ascension Chamber when you come in the door. All of that is spirit guided. So I basically would open communication, and spirit communicated. And so the Ascension Chamber, originally we called it the Dome, and spirit gave it the name, the Ascension Chamber, and so we went with that.
Hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful. Augie, do you want to show any pictures of the
Yes,
your team?
we're
It
we're
looks
about we're about a minute away from the bottom of the hour. So I want to ask you a quick question that will maybe the answer could take a minute. So we'll read it then, and that is that the nuts and bolt part of my brain is wondering because when you think about the field, the quantum field, everything that has been, is, and will be is already there. So what you're doing here with the equipment that you have all assembled into one unit, it appears to me that they're able to reach into the field and meet spiritual entities and have those downloads of things that has been or will be. Have you looked into how did all that come about? Where there's got to be, yeah, you had some downloads too, and that was probably some spiritual form of entity that gave it to you. Do you think that could be it?
I do believe that that's the case. And through meditation, and then a large number of synchronicity and additional validation, I believed I was, and it was reported that I am, or was receiving the downloads from uh, Tesla. Acted as like the lead engineer of the project. And so I believe that that intelligence was, that soul of Tesla still reaching back, supporting, and giving the service to the earth. And I was willing to, say, hey, let's build it, and let's see what can take place.
It looks
Man, oh
amazing.
man, that's phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah, we are
And
at the bottom of Yeah, we are at the bottom of the hour. So, for those of you that joined us late, we are talking with Chad Andrews, that has the Ascension Chamber in Phoenix, Arizona, and they are having some phenomenal results. So, if you didn't hear the first part, you missed the good part. You got to go back and listen to it again because this needs you need to know what is really possible. If you take the technologies, many different technologies, and combine them into one thing like he has done, you can have these spiritual experiences and healings and all the things that they get. And I brought up his website. There are some pictures that I think we could show. And for those of you out there that we're on 44 platforms, and some of those platforms don't have video. So I am sorry to say that, but I could try to, or you can try to explain the pictures as we show them so they can have a little bit of a mental image of what is there. So let me try to share screen, and then we are going to have a look at the Ascension, what it looks like. And I'll tell you folks, this is something that, hang on a second here. I gotta, uh,
So Mary Pat asked if it was like a med bed or
I've had
okay.
individuals make that comparison, but it wasn't downloaded to me as such.
Yeah, can you
understood.
hear me okay?
We hear you, Augie.
Okay, good. Yeah, the top left, yeah, you can see the panel, right?
Yes.
Okay, the top left one, I guess, speak a little bit about that picture because that is built
Can
up
you
from the floor.
can you make it bigger, Augie, or can you go full screen maybe?
Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah, so
much.
what you're
Okay.
seeing here is the geodesic dome is tucked underneath the pyramid. You can see the legs of the pyramid. One of the legs is making up part of that staircase to come down. So
Oh,
essentially, underneath the pyramid is a geodesic dome. That's the all covered in the red roses. And of course, if anybody's familiar with Patrick Flanagan, who you just mentioned, he wrote several books. One was called Pyramid Power, where he demonstrated a tremendous number of anomalies, suggesting that there was life force energy was his conclusion within the pyramid structure that was being somehow harnessed. And in his follow-up book, he wrote Beyond Pyramid Power, where he tested additional geometry, and he found that in some instances the geodesic dome actually outperformed the pyramid. And
Oh.
when you're in the ascension chamber, you're centered directly underneath the pyramid and the geodesic dome, combined with the sacred geometry. And if you were to look at where the actual meditation occurs, it would be equivalent to the Queen's chamber position of the Great Pyramid. So that's where you're actually, inside the dome. You are centered underneath the pyramid and the geodesic dome, and all of that's
wow.
taking place on top of a granite floor. And the granite floor, I think it's got, um, I, there's a specific number of sides. I think it's 12 sides, adding up to a three. So there's a lot of three, sixes, and nines built into it.
Mm,
But all of the action starts, or takes place in the geodesic dome on top of that granite floor.
that's
Okay, good.
amazing.
Yeah. Let's there's more pictures here. So let me get rid of this one, and then this is a little close up of the
Yeah, that's amazing.
chair.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is now prior to going into the chamber, individuals will typically pick out a couple of songs. We usually like to start the session off with a song that puts them in a real good vibration, something that they've chosen that they're fond of, and they also write down their intentions. And then they go to that on the left hand side. You see the staircase, and that's where their journey really begins. And Maria is our in-house Reiki master. She's fantastic. She was my Reiki master when I was having a spiritual awakening, and she's joined us from day one, and been absolutely a massive contributor. So she starts the a journey out by helping the individual get grounded, and she's very tapped in, and she leads the individual through an amazing walk up around the back of the chamber, coming um, down the stairs that are listed on the right, or shown on the right, and then they go into the
yeah.
chamber. So what you're looking at is, they're getting ready to, step into the chamber. There's the chair in the middle, and it's surrounded by all of the different technologies.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you can have your session with or without Reiki, yes?
Yes, indeed. Yes. Uh,
Cool.
Oftentimes, individuals toward the end of their journey, during kind of the comeback music, we perform Reiki, and bring in that
Wow.
love and energy that we, whatever we can channel for them, and they're ready to receive. We're there for them.
Okay,
Beautiful.
let's look at another picture.
I
Let's
want that.
see.
I want to be in that chair. Yeah, right. I
Yeah,
want to go
let's
in the
look at
chair.
that chair. There you go. Yeah, talk on
Yeah.
this
So
one. That's
yeah. So
Lakovsky's device.
it's the chair is going to fold back into zero gravity. You've got an entire body laying on top of crystal and magnetic sand, and of course you can see the multi-wave oscillator. Those are the concentric rings. Those are adjacent on both sides of the chair. And then what we're seeing is the tall blue things. These are Tesla coils with the carousel and noble gases.
Wow.
So you're surrounded on either side by multiple Tesla coils that are emitting this plasma field. So your body from head to toe is literally being bathed in that plasma energy. And then, of course, you can see some of the different colors of the light spectrum that's coming through with the specific spectrochrome colors that we're
Oh,
utilizing. You can see lots of speakers inside the chamber. And now, what's unique is that the chamber itself is constructed multi-layered, much like an orgone accumulator that Wilhelm Reich had discovered. And so, behind what you're looking at is a satin and silk. Behind that is a brass mesh, followed by about like 9 additional layers, alternating materials. And you could say that even Reich's work is uh, included in the chamber because it's built like an orgone accumulator.
Mhm.
people
And
ask. I'm
go ahead.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I was going to
Somebody
say
asked.
that
You
you
go.
go
I'll
ahead.
wait.
Yeah, sorry.
Somebody in the chat room was wondering if the rings were copper.
They're actually made of different alloys, and so the specific unit that we're using is manufactured over in Europe. And the engineers behind it actually discovered an original Lakovsky unit in the basement of a hospital. And they
Wow.
actually worked with Lakovsky's son because he used specific alloys, including copper, but not all of them. And that was some information that Lakovsky had never included within the patents that he took out. And working with their son and having the original unit, they discovered that Lakovsky's original unit was using different alloys. So
Mm,
the unit we're using in the chamber is based on that reproduction and that inside information.
Okay.
wow.
Now, let me ask you this. When they're in the chair and everything is turned on, is that usually where they have their spiritual experiences, where they can see spiritual entities, light beings, and so on?
It can happen probably at any time because the first 15 minutes of the session, you're supported not only by the sound bath, but you're also taking in a lot of white noise, and that entire electromagnetic field is supporting the body. Now, if you look at a lot of work, um, it's suggested that by stimulating the frontal lobes with electromagnetic fields, that that seems to be very tied to metaphysical experiences. And so a lot of viewers may have heard of the God helmet, and that was their conclusion. They were using specific electromagnetic frequencies, to stimulate the brain. And they were also reporting, the individuals having similar experiences to what we, are reported with, out of body experiences or people meeting entities and, feeling the presence of entities. So it's quite possible that the chamber is providing, some unusual stimulation of the frontal lobes because again you're laying you're reclined in that chair, and the first 15 minutes you're being bathed in that energy, and then the equipment goes quiet and the sound bath continues to carry individuals through the journey where the chair is vibrating and really relaxing the body. The hemisync or the binaural beats that were included are also supporting the body. And then the chamber gets to a point where it's very quiet, and it could be that at that point we've relaxed the body enough that that's when they have experiences during the kind of the silent part, and it could be otherwise. But I did want to suggest that I think that it might have something to do with not only the hyper focused energy, the spiraling energy that we believe is being created within the geometry. But I think that the stimulation of the brain may have something to do that unlocks that ability to get that tapped in.
Hmm. Wow. And there also some of them have out of body experiences.
We've had that reported, absolutely.
Yeah.
How could you
Uh,
not?
yeah. I have another picture here I want you to talk a little bit about, and that is the Tesla coil. Let me see where that is. If I can find, oops, no, that's not it.
Beautiful.
Uh, okay, here we go. Maybe that one would be better for that, because this uh, sitting next, is that the Tesla coil with the gases?
Yes, the carousel, the noble gases, that's all the clear glasses. So they're put on a carousel that's in the shape of the Star of David. So again, there's more sacred geometry built into it. But that is a large Tesla coil, and you're supported with two on either side. So there's four on your sides, and there's one at your feet.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Oh,
And they
wow.
create a tremendous amount of white noise covering a huge spectrum of frequencies. Oftentimes, people meditate to white noise, and they believe that it puts them in a altered state. So you're getting plenty of white noise within the chamber while you're being supported by the sound bath that first 15 minutes. And then at the conclusion of the session, after the quiet period, the comeback music comes on, the equipment kicks back on, and we bring people back in, but again they're being bathed once more in that plasma energy.
Wow.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's
Okay.
beautiful.
Now here is something. This is a light rod. What is that for?
uh, that is a fun demonstration. So there's a famous picture of Nikola Tesla, and he's sitting in a chair, and he's got a light bulb, and it's lit up, and that's an unopened package of light bulbs that, when you're sitting in the chair, to demonstrate that core field of energy that you're being bathed in, we'd
Wow.
like to give people a light bulb, and it lights up with the focused area of energy right where they're sitting.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's unopened, so it's fun. And then you turn off the equipment, and of course the light goes out. But you're looking at wireless energy, and so
Wow.
we like to say that, hey, Likovsky's theory was that those frequencies that are lighting up this light, he believed was quite capable of increasing the amplitude of the cells themselves. And hey, if it's lighting up a light bulb, maybe he was onto something.
Right?
Wow.
And we find that people get super relaxed when they're in the that field of energy. So it seems to not only excite the cells, according to Lukovsky's theory, but we find that people report being very relaxed by just bathing in that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, since you have that Tesla coil there with the noble gases, that sets up a bubble, would think, of plasma around you, and that those noble gases and the Tesla coil that can have some tremendous healing effects.
There have been a lot of reports. If you go online and you look up the quantum pulse machine, you'll find a lot of individuals have had amazing success stories just using that single apparatus by itself.
Yeah. This is the
Yeah.
top. Nope, that's not the one. What did I do here? I got that wrong. Okay. This is the top of the Tesla coil, I suppose.
That's
Nope.
correct. Yeah, you're looking down at the Star of David, and then it's got kind of a halo with um, additional geometry built into
Yeah.
the top.
Okay. Now, here is something that is also different that I don't think we have mentioned so far. Uh, this these people, they're sitting underneath another geodesic dome, huh?
Yes, and that geodesic has dome has been completed, and it now houses our waterbed that we built. Actually, Maria's husband Peter designed and built the waterbed, and he put some vibrational plates into the waterbed, allowing us to send specific frequencies through the water to vibrate the body. And we're doing different experiments in consciousness, attempting to vibrate the body and use sound technology to attempt to see numbers and go out of body or try to have transcendent experiences. So it's kind of our sandbox at this point.
Oh, what a
I want to play in
sandbox.
that sandbox.
Well, we would
Nice.
love to have you play. Come on down.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
gosh. Let me see. I think there was one more picture here that I kind of wanted to show, and see if I can find it. Yeah, I see here that there's looks like a 10-year-old girl sitting in the chair. So I think every person, every age can have benefits from this.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I think that when she came out of the chamber, I believe that she said that she had an experience where she was kissing a unicorn. And
Wow.
yeah, and kids oftentimes, the younger individuals that come in that do a session, they oftentimes report, angelic experiences. It's really fun.
So sweet. So
Mm,
sweet. Oh my goodness.
Yep,
okay.
she's just reclined, got the headphones on, reclined, relaxing, and getting vibed.
Yeah.
It was in the chat room. Somebody was wondering about, do some people ever cover their eyes or just close their
Yes.
eyes? Yes.
I prefer to use a eye mask, and we have eye masks for individuals to use, or they might bring their own. But some people want to just close their eyelids and allow the light to come through. So it's really an individual preference. But I have a preference of wearing an eye mask, with an attempt to drop in deeper into a meditation.
Mm.
Eye masks
Yeah.
are optional.
Beautiful.
I got handed a note here. Ask you, are you familiar with Dan Winter's work?
Only through through Peter. So Maria's husband, he's shared some stuff about Dan's work with me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've not studied it on my own.
Yeah. And the question here was, is this kind of like the chamber or like the throne chamber mentioned in the Emerald Tablets?
I'm totally unfamiliar with that.
Yeah. Hmm.
That would be pretty neat if it is, but I haven't heard
Right?
that before.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
amazing. Mhm. This
Okay.
is beautiful.
I'm gonna shut down the sharing here. So
How often do you go in, Chad?
The last couple of weeks, I've been in there a few times as I've had, been dealing with some of my own, depressions and things like that. So I've, been giving myself a few tune-ups. Obviously, when we first, constructed the chamber, all of us, we were all in there, many times a week. And, at this point, we're in there quite a bit when we're doing the healing work, with individuals. But
Mhm.
we probably don't take advantage of the chamber near as often as we should. But we like to jump in there for tune-ups.
Beautiful. So beautiful. So amazing. Very
yeah.
exciting.
Do you have plans of expanding this beyond Phoenix, maybe other places in the country, maybe other countries?
Well,
Or
it's
the
our
East
dream to see the
Coast.
chamber. Absolutely. We have a willingness to help individuals build, provide instruction so they can build the chamber by themselves. Um, Whatever it takes to get the technology out there. We want to cooperate and make that happen. And we've had a number of individuals that have come through that have suggested that they have plans of opening up a center and they want to include a chamber, which we're all for, but that hasn't happened yet. And we do recognize that Phoenix, Arizona is a long way from the rest of the country and world. But we we haven't successfully raised any capital to move from our this original location. We certainly think that it has a lot more potential in another spot, especially in spiritual places like maybe Sedona. But we ourselves don't have the money to move it, and we are hoping and praying and putting out there that the universe take the ball and run with it. And so if there's anybody that wants to add an ascension chamber to their facility, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
At,
And
if we
there
could provide you instructions, you can build your own at cost.
there is a saying among affluent people, and that is that if the idea is good enough, there is never any problem with money. So put it out there right now for anyone that would like to get involved with something like this, get in touch with you.
Fantastic. I hold space for that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, because this needs to be spread around. Because I'm almost joking about this. Who needs a med bed when you got something like this? Because many of the technologies that we've heard about being in the med beds, you already have here.
Well, fantastic. We've seen our share of miracles, and to clarify with Kelly, I believe that the chamber offered tremendous support in helping harmonize her body while she was going through chemo and radiation. But I wouldn't think that it's a fair assessment to say that nothing was working until she found the chamber. But I think that the chamber, and she can share her own testimony. But I think that the chamber absolutely supported her during that difficult process, and we would recommend anybody that whatever, if they've chosen the Western medicine path, you can include the chamber, and it can just complement that what you're doing. And Kelly's an amazing individual with a specific a intention and desire that's uh, feverish and unmatched. So it doesn't surprise me at all that she saw some wonderful results through the chamber. But she glows that light.
Yeah, and when I talked to Kelly, she credited her total healing to the chamber because before that it hadn't worked. So I know you're trying to be a little, uh, stand back a little bit, but I think the credit is at your end. So I would. That's the way it sounded on her because
Very good. Well,
she explained it to me, and that's the way it sounded.
And one of the
we love
questions
Kelly.
in one of the questions in the chat room was, can scalar energy intermix with that or help with it or?
Yeah, and Bob Beck and those guys back in the day, they believed and came to the conclusion that the multi-wave oscillator was creating scalar waves. In fact, and so it's quite possible. Now, I don't have the background to figure out how to measure all of these things or use formulas, but if we can trust that group, then perhaps the scalar waves are also being created and included to support the body and the experience.
Mhm. Yeah. Hmm. Well,
Beautiful.
this is an ascension chamber. Have you seen or have anybody say that they have left their body, gone into higher vibrations, and seen what is in a spiritual existence?
Well, I would have to say yes. And you just depending, I think that it is an out of body experience when you describe meeting angels and being in a place where loved ones that have passed over. But I don't know that anybody's come back and reported, magnificent scenery that isn't more commonly understood now.
Hmm.
Um, Nobody's come back and said, and the streets are made of gold.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
But yeah, they definitely have. They've met loved ones that have passed over, and that can be really quite heartwarming. We had a gal that
Oh,
we didn't even know, and she was a little skeptical about being here. And when she came out, she was crying, and she said that she'd met her son that had recently passed over.
Wow.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and she wasn't expecting anything, and so of course we all shared those tears of joy with her.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of theory, discussion that the spirit world is really right here happening around us, but we are not in the vibration to see it. But I
That's
can't
right.
Yeah.
help but imagine going into that chamber, puts us in that vibration, that high vibration, so we can interact with them, with the angels, with our loved ones. It's just
It,
so
I
exciting, so
I agree,
exciting.
sister. It makes sense to me. It really does. It makes sense to me that that's a part of what makes the chamber unique is creating that space that
Yeah.
is so supported by not only the sound technology, but the unseen forces of the geodesic dome and the pyramid, and the pyramid's actually anchored into the earth. It's got like 8 foot rods drilled through the cement
Oh,
to the earth, and I think there's something definitely going on with that.
wow, that's amazing.
It provides that opportunity or tool to really put you in that place to have your best chance to have an
Yes,
experience like that.
yes. I love this so much. And Augie, would you want to ask Chad your world famous question?
Oh, yes, yes, I would definitely do that. And I think we got 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left. I want to ask you a question, but first, I want to ask you, when you are not in the chair, you're not really involved, but you are there, and somebody is in the, have you seen any strange occurrences or strange things happen in the room where somebody is actually using the equipment?
We definitely have had moments like that. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
can recall one specific session where um, a gentleman had come in for a specific meditation on a specific date, and he was doing his session, and we were holding space and meditating along with him, and we heard the loudest. Crazy noise that jolted and shook the building, and to this day it's never happened again, and it only happened that one time during that meditation like that. But it's not uncommon, even when we're waiting for somebody to come out of the chamber, and of course we're sending love and we're holding space and we're asking for their highest good, and sometimes you'll be blasted with that love, and you just feel this massive warmth and heart opening
Mhm.
moment, and tears might even start strolling down your face, and that something wonderful has just happened inside the chamber. So
Mm,
those are always wonderful surprises,
Yeah.
and it happens. Absolutely happens.
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That is
Wow.
so beautiful.
Yeah,
Strike
absolutely.
me
People
up.
report feeling other people's, or they feel their hand being held, or they'll feel individuals, are touching them, and nobody's been in the chamber, but they're really feeling these things, and because we know that yes, they are being touched and they are being worked on by our unseen friends at higher frequencies.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, we're coming towards a close here, but tell people, the people that joined us late, tell them where they can get a hold of you, get a hold of the chamber, and where they can participate in this.
Outstanding. AscensionChamber.life is our website, and that's a great starting point. And it includes not only the gallery pictures, but there's also a link to our YouTube documentary. And so, if you're into that kind of thing and you want to go to our YouTube channel, there's a wonderful documentary that really tells the whole story of the Ascension Chamber and gives you a thorough walkthrough demonstrating the equipment. And it has a lot of testimonials built into that. And that's like an hour long commitment. The other videos on there are snippets and different testimonials that are often fun to reflect on and look at, and that can give people a real good idea of the chamber. And if it resonates, then the chamber might be calling you, and we would certainly welcome anybody to come in. We can work out programs. We're willing to donate sessions to individuals that have a terrible illness and they can't afford chamber sessions, we can gift those sessions to individuals, because again, we're here to share the information. It's not my technology. I brought it through and I feel that I've done my job, and so I'm at peace with that. But if the chamber can help you, it's here in Arizona and it's waiting to be birthed in other places.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so
Well,
So
beautiful.
check out our website, and you can email us at tesla@gmail.com, and we're happy to answer questions. And if you can make yourself available to come to Phoenix, or if you're headed to Sedona before or after, hey, we're 5 minutes from the airport, easy to get to, and we'd recommend give yourself time to have a couple of sessions so that you get the full immersion experience.
sounds good. Then I got to ask you the last question, and that is that if you could talk to the whole world and the world is listening, what would you tell them?
Find as much love and enjoyment in life as possible, while living with that open heart and really demonstrating and be that light worker that we all came here to be, because our ultimate objective is to open our hearts, right, and shine that love. And so if we can just focus on that individually, we will have lights popping up all over the world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very much.
so
And
much, Chad.
Thanks, you guys.
I also want to say thank you very much to Kelly that got us introduced to Chad,
Yes.
because
Thank you,
this
Kelly.
has been a total joy of a show. Gosh, this was good. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you guys next week. Take care.